Hello and welcome again to Win and Play second season. Sorry we had some technical issues, but you know it happens in all the show, even the wonderful one. Imagine even more our show, but as you can see, this is second season and we had some change. So we have normally wonderful surprise, but today we are surprised that are more surprised, the normal surprise just for you. Because what happened to normal talk show? And other serious thing like the one we are trying to put on here, there are hosts and then there are guests and more guests and more guests and more guests. And for us it's different because not only we don't have more guests, but we have the same number of guests we had normally all the time, but we even have less hosts. Because today our host from the first season, Mr. Bassem, had a problem and can be here at the time, but don't worry, we will have a host. It's me, Mr. David One, and then there will be our guest, Mr. David Chu, wonderful expert on society with 13 PhD, but also, of course, the man with most PhD in the history of the universe, Mr. Manuel.
Hello and welcome to our show, your favorite show, Win and Play. This is a fantastic historic event. We're live back again just for all of you people out there. And we want you to know that in this show, you win even before you play. As you have noticed,
Well said, Mr. Manuel.
As you have noticed, my facial hair and my features have grown a little over time. It's been such a long time since our last show that things change over time, things grow over time, but we hope to impart even more of that wisdom that we've gained, especially today. But I'll give it back to our gracious host, Mr. David One.
Thank you, Mr. Manuel. So first of all, if you're not used to follow our show, you must know that what is Win and Play? It's a place to discuss wonderful topic of our society, and we do it with the best expert on society, all together with a lot of wisdom and many hashtags only for you. And as we like hashtag, of course, you can interact with us via Twitter. We are in the age of technology. So just write your comment or feedback or question and put hashtag Win and Play, and we will read it and we'll answer to you thanks to our wonderful wisdom or Mr. Manuel and Mr. David, and of course me, the host of this day. We have to tell you why Mr. Bassem is not here. Well, he has some important issues. He is actually, many of you will not know, he has been applying as an astronaut, and that is a secret thing, but we can tell you by now he had his first launch yesterday and is now in the International Space Station, and will link with us later at 8 p.m. Central European Time. So in 45 minutes we will have a break, and then we will have Mr. Bassem live from the International Space Station. He couldn't do it before because he has to prepare breakfast for his colleagues. But yeah, remember, hashtag Win and Play to interact with us. We are, and also our Facebook page, if you already know it for sure as you're here. But now I want to introduce Mr. Manuel, his wonderful wisdom, and ask, as we have this episode number 1 of second season without host, what makes a good host, Mr. Manuel?
You ask a very difficult question. If we think of Mr. Bassem, he is, he's a quintessential Egyptian. I think that's what we really need for our show. Somebody with perfect good questions, who knows how to ask and look into people's souls. But more importantly, Mr. Bassem has, the flus, the money, he knows how to get good experts. And that's why Mr. Davide and myself, are always here ready to answer all the questions for society. And, we really hope to get to the bottom of things, bottom of the issues of our society, because children are suffering and we need to give them answers.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hear what our other expert, David, think about it. Oh, yes, thank you, David. So, no, I totally agree with Mr. Manuel. He nailed it. That's the point. We have to think about not only the children, but also the families, all the people are following today's talk show, and then they find this guest that they cannot really do their job because they want to speak more than the guest. They're not there just to lead the conversation, but they want to put their opinion in, and they interrupt all the time. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, you're perfectly right. Yeah, that's the problem with the host today. But I would like to have another question now, if you don't mind. No, don't worry. You're welcome. Okay, perfect. So you say Mr. Bassem has the money. Why is money so important today to make a program to entertain the public? Why we can do anything without money anymore? Mr. Manuel, what's your opinion?
Well, honestly, our society just wants the check. Like everybody just thinks about money, and I think it is indeed a problem of our society. But money makes the world run. And if only money grew in trees, maybe we would have less issues. But it is important because how else can we find our studies? How else can we find the truth of things? At the end of the day, like my father says, there is nothing free. Nothing free. Think about that. What would you have to say, Mr. David One? After all, you paid for today. Since Mr. Bassem is not here, please explain, why is money so important?
Well, money is important because it's always been a way of...
Excuse me. I asked the host, not the expert.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, of course. But Mr. Manuel, my job here just to introduce you and let you speak, and it's not, I don't want to give my opinion. Well, as you ask for my opinion, yes, of course, it also depends which kind of money, okay? Because is it money from a determinate country? Is it money of paper? Is it money in coins? There are countries where the coins are more valuable than the papers of other countries. Why there is all this difference? And also another question is, why are hippos gray? Do you know anything about it, Mr. Manuel? I was watching, some important thing last week, where in Georgia there was a flooding, and then animal escaped from a zoo, and there was this hippo eating the trees in the main square of Tbilisi, and they are gray. Even the hippos in Tbilisi, I thought just the hippos in Africa were gray. And do you have any idea for this? Why is this color?
Why gray?
Yeah.
I don't know how this relates to money, but I hope you pay me in cash after the show. Hippos, gray, crossing the rivers. I mean, I think silver, is the color of money, but I do not see how your question relates, Like, I think what we really need in a host is somebody who keeps the question deep, who knows a lot of topics, but yet knows how to hire his experts, So I would really like to hear from our other expert, Mr. David too.
Yeah, well, I must say I miss deeply and completely Mr. Bassem. He was a wonderful host. I hope he can be again with us very soon from the International Space Station. But he also achieved this dream of a lifetime, going into space. It's wonderful. One thing Mr. Bassem had is an incredible culture about everything that is knowledgeable in life. And I think, that is also something that a good host must have. But also a good host must have a good internet connection, of course, and availability. And he had to be able to put some special effect. And that was a bit a disappointing one. Okay, and I met many hosts in my life, because I've been an expert in society with 13 PhD. The last one is in taxonomies of badgers, and it's important to have a person that makes you feel at ease in the studio, in the TV studio. And what has been your best experience, Mr. Bassem? If I can make a question, of course, if the host doesn't mind. No, I don't mind, of course. No, I wanted to ask as well, Mr. Manuel, do you have any funny anecdote with your host in your transmission during all these years?
Yeah, well, to be honest, you called me Mr. Bassem, and I was just so honored. I can only
Did
think,
I?
I can only think, Mr. Bassem, Habibi Bassem. What can I say? Really, like this is such an honor. So in all my years of experience with Mr. Bassem, I was just delighted, just to see him smile and his laugh. Sometimes I can get him into very compromising situations, but I think something we really need to ask, um, aside from anecdotes, is really, what do you do when your host is missing? Because today, right now, like a host when missing, like I know he is in the International Space Station, but we haven't really talked to him in a number of months. Perhaps he got lost in space. So sometimes when you lose your host, you need to make sure you have a topic in mind. And the problem is when not all of our viewers know who our host is. That is a seriously deep problem. But I guess my favorite anecdote is when I make the host be on the spot and turn back the question. How many times has Mr. Basin has not said, I pay you to come to the show. Answer my question. This is not about me. So those are the golden moments of the golden eras where you see your host really be on the spot and really shine and show his character.
Yeah.
Let's clap for Mr. Basin, please. Let's clap for him.
Yes, I perfectly agree. Mr. Basson can handle the show with a iron fist, but can also be a gentle caress for all the guests. And yeah, we have a message from Claudio from Mexico is telling, keep the two of them. I have no idea of maybe the glasses. I would keep them like this, but this will lead me to a disturb of personality then because I will be host and guest at the same time, and I can't. I really can't do it. So, Mr. Manuel, I'm definitely out of ideas because I was relying on Mr. Bassem to link before to connect before from his International Space Station. But as we are now almost 20 minutes into our show time, and we'll have another one, another episode just at 8 p.m. Central European Time with Mr. Bassem Live. And remember, you can interact with us through hashtag Win and Play. But yeah, Mr. Manuel, would you like to suggest a way to wrap up this first time, this first session, this first half of Win and Play in 2? And we will develop this thematic, and then we will be back with our host Bassem, which is experienced one, so he will lead the conversation on the way that he only can do. The word is to you, Mr. Manuel.
Well, absolutely.
Where are your mustache?
I just decided that we needed a change of look, to make this absolutely exciting and to go back to the old times. So since we have a lot of new listeners, I thought, we should describe what is Win and Play really all about. I'm getting questions from our listeners and our viewers. What is this all about? There are 3 different characters, one person playing 2 characters right now. And, it's very intriguing to see Mr. David 1 and Mr. David 2 interact. That's why people are asking that he would keep both of them at the same time. I would love for him to continue on and showing us his spectacular talent and his gift, both as a host and as an expert with his 13 PhDs. So first of all, let me start at the center of the things. This is an ISO 900001000 ISO certified show. The only show you can find online that is ISO 90000. So please, that's the first place you should start. Number 2, we address issues important in our society that impact children and our honorable members. And we want anyone who has questions to feel free to contact us. We are here for your convenience and your understanding. Many times in the past, we have talked about swimming while hugging. We have talked about crossing the road. We have talked about other issues in certain countries about the naked pizza, which are very serious issues when we think about them. We've talked about nutrition. We've talked about the importance of showering and not showering and saving money with our other expert, Mr. Davide Foligno. And, you can look us up on SoundCloud and on YouTube. We would love to fill you with all the wisdom and all the understanding of what our society really needs. It really needs true wisdom. Mr. Davide has 13 PhDs. I have over 20 PhDs. I keep on learning them, every month. And, we really want to keep you informed.
Mr. Manuel, I know that also you learn in many languages now. And the last one you finished, you actually start studying only 15 days ago. You start studying Spanish. But can you just give an example of us how quickly you can learn? Like you start studying Spanish from scratch 15 days ago, and can you tell us something in Spanish?
Por supuesto. Sería un placer conversar con todos ustedes en español, aprendiendo simplemente rápidamente para todos aquellos que nos estén escuchando desde Latinoamérica, España, hasta la luna. We miss you, Mr. Bassem. We know you are listening. Bisura, Habibi, Bisura.
All right, that is absolutely fantastic. Only 15 days and you already speak Spanish like a mother tongue. I'm really impressed. I think I will follow your example and take on some other languages. Like I would like to learn Italian, for example. Okay, Mr. Bassem, if Mr. Davide has something else to say, yes, maybe I didn't speak too much. Okay, thank you, Mr. Davide. So we are about to wrap up everything, but we will come back as soon as Mr. Bassem is live from the space station. So it's not more than 30 minutes. Just we're trying to contact via WhatsApp, and we will be back with another broadcast. And that's it for the moment. And let us play some wonderful sound effects to celebrate this. Time is running out. Any last thing you want to say, Mr. Manuel?
I have one specific sound that really comes to mind.
Yeah.
And the wise word of the cricket. That's
the
how
cricket,
I would like
the
to
cricket is a wonderful animal and also an interesting sport. And with this, we are cutting in 3, 2, 1.
Cut,
And
cut,
there is
cut,
no
cut, cut.
final song. Cut.